Hello, I'm Neil Watson, Chief Technical Officer for ADEY Professional Heating Solutions. I'm going to talk about effective filtration within central heating systems. Traditionally, if you want to filter any particle from within a fluid, you would use a mesh. Now, the important thing to remember here is within a central heating system, we're trying to filter out magnetite. More than 98% of all of the debris that's generated within a heating system is magnetite, black iron oxide, and the average particle size is only 8 micron. That's incredibly small. That's 0.008 millimeters in diameter. So if we were to use a traditional mesh, which requires the mesh size to be smaller than the particle to be effective, we would need to take a mesh which is less than 8 micron in diameter. Now, this mesh here, where you actually can't see the holes already, is 80 micron in diameter. So this mesh, in effect, is 10 times too wide and 10 times too tall to filter out a magnetite particle. So 10 by 10 is 100. This mesh is already 100 times too big for effective magnetite filtration. The problem with the addition of a mesh into any fluid flow is that it can cause pressure drop and it can block. So if you put a very, very fine mesh, similar to this one, into your flow of heating fluid, you're likely to cause the boiler to cut out. Meshes you find in competitive filters are much bigger. In fact, one such mesh is 8 millimeters by 8 millimeters grid size. Now, when you think about that, you're trying to filter out an 8 micron particle size with a mesh that's 1,000 times too wide and 1,000 times too tall. That's actually 1,000,000 times too big for that particle size. Now, I know it's difficult to imagine down on the micro scale, so let's size it up. If you assume that each one of those grids are the height of the Eiffel Tower by the width of the Eiffel Tower, that's like trying to use that grid to filter a particle the size of a football. Clearly, that's not going to work. So how it works in effect is every time the water passes through the filter, there's a probability that the particle will impact at some time onto one of the wires of the mesh, but you can imagine that that particle maybe needs to pass through that filter 1,000,000 times before it has the probability of impacting with the mesh. So what you need is you need a filtration method that works regardless of the particle size. So what we do here at ADEY is we use exactly that. We have a filter that uses a very strong magnetic core because magnetism is independent of particle size. It doesn't matter whether you've got a particle size of 8 micron or 80 micron or 8 millimeters, a magnet will grab it. This is why the magnetic filters used by ADEY are the best-selling filters, the most effective filters on the UK market. 4 million installers can't be wrong.